That's the wrong intro, Mark.
Yeah, you may have noticed, folks, that that's the wrong intro, but I did it deliberately.
You did it deliberately.
Because,
Why?
well, very simple. We did a cards with Marc on Sunday, and it went spectacularly well.
Well,
So
yay.
that's my way of saying, come to the next one, which
Come
is
to the
going to
next one.
be...
I will be at the next one. I had to miss this one because I didn't get home from the festival in time. So,
Yeah, two people, got 4 readings between them. I'm not 100% happy with the readings, I'm going to be honest. I've done a lot better readings. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. They were okay. I'm going to say the level of work that I did for readings was adequate, but what I'm really happy about was the methodology. A lot of people were attending it. A lot of people were making comments. It was very interactive. I've had people that I've seen.
It was a good thing.
Yeah. So I'm quite happy with the format. Now we're working on how to distribute the video, and we might cut it down. I'm toying with the idea of cutting the readings down and doing them as TikTok. So
you should.
Good. It's all very happy. Yes. I suppose I should put the news logo up.
Yes, you need to put the news thing up.
Yeah, I'm not doing very well tonight, am I?
How's your sugar, Mark?
Actually, I had a hypo earlier. Don't laugh. I had my diabetic doctor appointment this morning, and bear with me for there we go.
Here we go. There we are. News and information. Yay!
So you've already had the first bit of information. Second bit of information, we are, at least I am, absolutely overwhelmed with the amount of work we're doing. This idea all seemed like a good idea when we started it, which kind of leads into, if you've got any video, specifically, if you've got any video editing skills, or if you've got any blog writing, more editing than writing actually, because we do use AI a lot. But if you've got any blog writing, editing, proofreading skills, either of those 2 people, please come forward. We will pay you with free training to the value of $1,250 a month. Seriously. That's what people pay us for the types of training that will give you access to free of charge.
For free mediumship training.
Yep, I was out last week with the drone. I won't go into the full details, but have a look at this, folks.
Ooh, isn't that pretty?
So this is Tantalon Castle. We've got lots of footage of me and Ying doing our usual walking around, going up and down stairs and over the sides of the walls, etc. I don't have a lot of footage because it was very windy, so I could only do a few minutes of it, but there's a few scenes like that going to be edited in.
It's pretty.
Yeah, so I've got my new toy. The bad news is I found that it's going to be virtually impossible to actually use it in the holiday trip to Ireland. I'll be able to use it in Northern Ireland because that's part of the UK. So the rules and regulations that I operate under, I can do. But we're only there for 3 days, and that is really the business side of the trip for the clinic that we're working on, that I work in. Did you know our head office is also a podiatrist clinic? I bet you didn't know that, folks. But when we get down to Northern Ireland, I actually made a fool of myself. I was busy typing in, okay, tell me this site where we're going to, and I couldn't understand it. The rules were off the scale. I mean, we're talking miles around this historical castle that I couldn't fly the drone. And then it suddenly dawned on me this was the royal residence for the king and queen when they're in Northern Ireland. So
yeah, stay away from that castle.
Yeah, so it wasn't going to be allowed to take a drone there under any circumstances. Nope. There's lots of other things we can talk about, but to be really honest, there's a big event that I do want to talk about that should be in the news, but we're actually going to work it into the main talk tonight. And I might come back and do a wee bit news at the end and say what it's all about. So very short news tonight, and that's about it. So it's me versus her.
Yeah, I'm a man, as always, right?
Basically, are men becoming an endangered species? Why are there so few men?
In mediumship.
In
not in general, yes.
No. In spiritualism. Now, let's be absolutely clear.
Yes.
We're not talking about spiritualism as I'm discovering myself and I'm sitting on a yoga mat with my
No.
crossed
The
legs.
religion is what you're talking
We're
about.
talking about the religion of spiritualism. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be defined as a religion. We're talking about people that want to get a reading from a medium. And I'm going to expand that. I mean, Devi and I are spiritual mediums, and to us, all other forms of mediumship, we don't really take that seriously. But this really accounts for every kind of reading with a sitter. It is, I mean, I can talk about this from personal experience. I have never once been in a church or a stage and had more than 5% of the audience as male, ever in my entire life. And I've got no, I mean, how many churches have I worked in? Let's see, pre-COVID, for about a year and a half, I was doing 3 churches a month. So 40, 50, and that was just for the couple of years before COVID. How many Zoom events have I done? I don't know. I've really lost count.
A lot.
In terms of mediums, there are a higher proportion of men as mediums, but even so, we're still.
But wait, I'm confused about that, because if they're spiritualists, they've got to be spiritualists to be mediums, at least in Scotland, right?
No.
No?
No. To be in a church, yes.
To be in a church.
Yeah. I mean, the ones that are church trained are spiritualists, mediums. The ones that are not church trained are just like, I'm a medium.
Right. Okay. Yeah, like they do in the US.
Yeah, but there's not as many of them. I mean, it basically boils down to Scotland has more churches than we know what to do with.
Right.
It doesn't matter which church you go to. If you go on a weekly basis, there'll be a different medium working every week. So it gives you an indication of the number of mediums. And when I say I was working in churches, what I mean was I was going to a different church in a different location in Scotland every week.
Right.
I wasn't working weekly, but I was doing about 3 churches a month.
So that's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot, and it was too much. I haven't gone back to it. So if you're a church watching, looking for me, feel free to contact me, but I'm not going to do anything like what I was doing pre-COVID.
Yes, and of course, there aren't many spiritualist churches in the US, so I have not done stage work or church work.
And she chickened out when I tried to get her to join me in a church. She really did.
I was having some blockages, if you recall, going through some medical issues. So yeah.
It's an excuse. An excuse.
No excuse. Next time, I promise.
And also, I've got a really serious issue with you, Devi.
Yes. Oh dear.
You've been to Great Britain,
yes.
But you haven't been to Scotland. You've only been to England. And okay, it was a spiritual experience, but
well, let me tell you this. I was 7 when I went to England. I went where my parents took me. I had no choice in the matter.
Excuse. But here's the big but. Here's the bit that should have been in the news. Devi, you want to tell us about your experience, and then I'll tell them about the twist.
Okay, when we went to England, we went to see Stonehenge, and that was back in the 70s. You could go in the circle and touch the stones. It's not like it is now. And I remember my father picking me up and putting me on the altar stone. And that was my first real spiritual experience. I felt like the stones were talking to me. I know this was ancient spirits. Now I feel ancient spirits, but I felt like the stones were talking to me. I saw people in the circle, not tourists, but like people celebrating, and it was very intense. And of course, when I told my mom, she, poo-pooed me. But to this day, I consider it my first spiritual experience.
Okay. Now, just to get back to the basics of who I am and what Devi and I do. Now, we've made it clear that we're spiritualist mediums. You can tell from my accent that I'm Scottish, but what we teach, like we talked about the training at the beginning, is very, very specific Scottish style mediumship. Now, I'm not claiming that Scotland has a world monopoly on the type of mediumship we do, But I know for a fact that if I go down into England, probably 50 to 75% of the churches or mediums, spiritual mediums that I would encounter would not survive in Scotland for more than their first attempt to work on a church, because of the way they've been trained and because of the way they work. And I am specifically talking about there's a big training organization down south, I can't remember the name of it, but they teach a methodology that we don't tolerate in Scotland. Mm-hmm. And there's other things that are different about it. So, but we're not here to do a training event. Let's just keep it to that. Scottish mediumship is radically different. Now, I have trained Devi in Scottish mediumship. So, yes. Devi, just very quickly back up what I'm saying.
Yes, before I met Mark, I thought all mediums were frauds because they called out and they just said, I have some man named John with a beard and glasses, and 5 people in the audience would raise their hand, and then they would say something else, and then 5 more people would raise their hand, and I could have, all of the spirits that this person brought through could have been people that I knew. So I thought all mediums were frauds until I met Mark, and he showed me about going direct, and that mediums are not necessarily frauds, and that even though I'd been speaking to spirits since childhood, I had no idea what I was doing, and he taught me the Scottish methodology, and now I believe mediumship works.
Right. So advert over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's the relevance of all of this? Picture of the video I've got behind me is a recreation of Stonehenge. What is Stonehenge? It dates back about 3,500 to 5,000 years because they built it over 1,500 years. Now, these people did not have wheels, and yet you've got no idea the scale of these stones until you actually go there. Now, I've actually been there.
Huge.
Yeah. I've been there 3 times. I mean, this is mega big, mega tourism. I mean, the queues to get in are huge when you go there, whenever you go there. To move one of these stones today, you would need a crane, you would need trucks, you would need serious equipment to move them. Yes. And yet these people move them up to, now this is the twist. Up until last year, they thought that all the stones came either locally, so they weren't having to move them too far, although that would still be difficult, or from Wales. Now, if you're not familiar with the UK, there are 4, I mean, I've talked about Ireland. The Great British Islands, there's thousands of islands around us, but the mainland, Great Britain, Scotland is at the top. We account for about 1/3. England is beneath us, always beneath us. They account not quite for 2/3, but a significant amount. And stuck on the left-hand side is Wales. Now, Wales is a nice little country, probably about 1/4 or less than the size of Scotland. But the relevance of this is that's where the stones were thought to have come from. But even so, moving them from Wales, which is mountainous, across England, and remember, there's no roads at this time. I mean, your forests are everywhere. There's 2 big mountain ranges, hills, valleys, you name it. They would have to carry these stones over it. Now, that's about 140 kilometers. I'm not sure what it is in miles, maybe about 100 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So the stone that Devi just talked about, they always seemed a little bit strange in the analysis in that it didn't match any of the other stones at Stonehenge. And it's bang right in the center. It's the one that this lady just had a religious experience on. Okay, it was 5 decades ago, but let's not quibble over that. And the twist, the real twist, is it comes from Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the final twist is it doesn't just come from Scotland. It comes from way up at the top of Scotland. Yes. And there are 2 possible places it could have come from. One is Aberdeenshire, which is in the mainland. And the second one is the Orkney Islands, which are about another 200 miles across the sea. Now, we haven't been able to tie it down to which one of those 2 locations, but just imagine if it came from
either one is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking 700 kilometers, 400 miles.
And we're talking 12,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Per rock.
The particular stone that we're talking about is, I think it's 6.5, coming up for 7 tons.
Yes. Yes.
So,
So 1,200 to 1,500. Yeah.
Yeah. So just, I mean, seriously, just think about that for 2 minutes. So let's get back to the main topic.
Oh, yes.
Let's go back in history. So today, ladies in mediumship outnumber the men. I mean, seriously outnumber the men. You can trace that right back to the Victorian times. Now, we're not going to have a debate here. I mean, the debate here isn't how did it happen. Just take it for fact that in the early days, Victorian women, mediumship wasn't easy, but it was a quick way for them in a what's the word? Patriarchy?
Patriarchy, yes.
Yeah, in a male-dominated economy. Let's just say economy, society, whatever definition you want to use. You've got ladies finding a very quick way to come to prominence, to become famous, and to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of frauds back in those days. I mean, the plasma, the plasma coming out of the mouth, out of the nostrils.
Right.
Kind of dismissive of that as mediumship, but they did it and it worked. Now, Scotland is very different from England. Why? I've told this story before, but in a nutshell, go back about 2,000 years. Celts are everywhere. The Celts come from Europe. They colonize Britain, Iron Age. They've got nice spears. They eliminate the people that are living here, and it's the people that are living here that are responsible for those stones.
Mm-hmm.
And Scottish mediumship, ancient culture, very spiritual, is one of the 6 existing cultures in the world that can trace the religious beliefs all the way back. Now, no, we don't have the same religious beliefs as the Celts. That's long gone. But the legends, the names, the spiritual stories, that has affected us all the way through. Now, why did we not disappear, whereas everybody else disappeared? Mr. Julius Caesar marching around with his legions, conquering, enslaving, training, Romanizing, civilizing. Right. Marc laughs through the back of his face. But anyway, it didn't happen in Scotland. They were not able to get much further than where I'm sitting actually now. And even then, it was only temporary. They retreated back down to what is across the English border to round about Newcastle, and that's seriously down into England. That's about an hour's drive across the border south. So these Celtic people, their culture carries forward, and it's my personal belief that that's why mediumship is so different in Scotland, because our culture makes it different.
It could be, absolutely.
So how did we get from Celts to Neolithic man that's responsible for these stones? Now, it's different people.
Yes, Neolithic man was before the Celts.
Oh, by thousands of years.
Yes.
But they inherit the structures, they inherit the stones, they inherit the legends, because people don't just disappear unless you're and you're sticking everybody up on crosses and taking them away in chains. But fundamentally, a lot of what was there carried forward. Now, let's get back to our original question. I'm going to assume that 5,000 years ago to 3,500 years ago, spiritualism, let's call it their religion, let's not call it spiritualism, whatever they believe in, it must have been spiritual. I mean, look at them. You know, what else are these stones for but religion? How the hell did these Neolithic ladies get this ruddy stone from Aberdeen down to Stonehenge? Please explain it to me, Debbie.
They told the men they told the men to do it, and the men obeyed like they should.
So are you saying that spiritualism is trying to create what's the word?
Matriarchy? No, I'm not saying that. No, that was a joke. Spiritualism is, however, pretty much a matriarchy. I know in the States that most of the mediums are female, but the weird thing is that most of the famous mediums, the ones on TV and all but one that I can think of, are male.
Yeah.
So that's still the patriarchy existing.
Yeah. True.
and nosing its way into spiritualism.
I mean, it's kind of I mean, the question itself is a joke.
Right.
But think about it. Here's another aspect to the stone circles. Think of America's love of something called Outlander. Now,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure anybody watching this knows what Outlander is, but let me just give you a very quick summary. It starts in World War II with a female doctor who goes up to a Scottish village.
Nurse, not doctor. She's a nurse.
Okay, nurse. Okay, sorry, nurse. Anyway, nurse goes to a Scottish village, gets sort of ghost story, middle of the night, goes into a stone circle, and spirits take her back in time to the time around about 1740 to 1745. She meets a lovely sexual hunk of a man, falls in love with him, and over the books and the years, she comes backwards and forwards because she's married in the future. She's got a husband in the past, and she goes home.
It gets very confusing.
It gets very, very confusing if you try and describe it in 5 seconds. But the point is, and I've met the author. I've actually got her autograph on one of the books because it was at the Edinburgh Book Festival. But cut long story short, the spiritualism legend association of these stones, Scottish, and everybody in America understands the spiritual impact of the stones. So that's really my second question. Is there, I mean, something serious, this is a serious question. Is there something about the stones that is spiritual energy? I mean, we started with Ying, that's my wife, with Devi telling us about her experience as a 7-year-old.
Yes. Interesting.
Yeah. So somebody's laughing, somebody's giving us a love heart, and somebody's giving us a thumb up.
Okay, so somebody's laughing. Oh, well, yes. Stonehenge is an amazing place. Of course, there's a lot of stone circles in Scotland as well. A lot of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are so many stone circles. I was actually driving round down. There was a traffic jam on the motorway. I was driving to the head office, the office that we've got, and I thought, right, I can't sit here for another half hour. So I took a side street. I just headed, and of course, Google took over at that point to give me directions. And I looked out the side of the window, and there's a big steel rod fence along the side of the road, and behind it are stones for a stone circle.
Stone circle.
And there's houses, like houses on either
right
side.
There. Oh, right there. Lord.
Driving along. There's Edinburgh Airport. If you ever do fly to Scotland, get in a taxi, or if I pick you up, turn right when you get out of the motorway.
Right.
That's not motorway. When you get out of the airport onto the main A8 road, turn right, drive for 5 minutes, turn left. There's a really nice, big, expensive hotel, and in the grounds of that hotel, if you know where to look for it, there's a stone circle.
Stone circle. Amazing.
Yeah. Now, we're not talking about anything the size of Stonehenge.
No, not that big, but still.
You know, still big enough to be of note.
And many of them are lined up like Stonehenges for the solstices.
Yeah. So, Trina, we'll just put that up. We've actually got a comment. So thank you, Trina.
Thank you. Trina is a friend of mine.
Ah.
Yes.
So you do have
I have a few friends. Hi, Trina.
So anyway, I suppose let's get back to talking about Stonehenge. It was an academic paper that got published last year. I have actually written a blog entry covering all of this in a lot more detail that we can cover in this little chat. It's not doing the male-female aspect in the blog. It's more just
about Stonehenge and Scotland.
Stonehenge, and that'll be being published probably in the next couple of days. Just go to markstewartmedium.com/blog. That's blog.
Okay.
In case you didn't understand the accent.
Blog. Yes. Okay, we got that.
Okay, well, I think we've just about. I mean, we
I
haven't
think
really
we've about
covered.
covered it.
I know.
Anyone
Anything
have any
else?
other comments, questions?
Not really very spiritual. Well, I suppose it is spiritual, but do you like my new background?
Oh, I do kind of like it.
I didn't do it. I discovered it on Pixabay, actually.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
A burning
and, it,
Stonehenge and the galaxy and a galaxy. Okay.
and it's in our right colors as well.
It is. It is true. A red, white, and blue galaxy.
And if I'm going to do advertising, people should know Psychic Mondays, that's plural.com, is where you can book a reading from me. I don't normally advertise that, but watch this carefully. It's got the moon just about to come up. Why is it Mondays? Why is it Spiritual Mondays? It's very simple. It's because it's the only day I've got free in my calendar to actually be able to do some readings. So I thought I
Yes.
better grab the domain name, psychicmondays.com, and the rest kind of followed on from there.
And I'm available not just on Mondays, but other days of the week as well.
Actually, yes, it is. Been there.
Yes.
Aberfeld is a really nice place, actually.
Someday I'll be there.
You know how often she says that?
I do.
About every month, she keeps saying, "I'm going to Scotland, Mark." I mean,
Unfortunately, my
I,
husband keeps getting ill and being in the hospital, so I've had to put off a lot of things this spring. So
I went to America. I met with her. I worked with her. I
yes.
offered to take her into a church platform, and she said, "No, I got that blocked."
I was ill. So just he'll let me live that one down.
No, I'm never ever going to let her live
Never.
this time. It was the opportunity of a lifetime, and she chickened it.
Oh, now that you're not coming back to the States? Come on.
Yeah, probably. Actually, in a serious bit, I'm getting ready for a big court case over the property that is supposed to be going to be built as our training centre. So that will probably dictate when I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Which will probably be in the next 3, 4, 5 months, but it'll be very short notice. So, folks, if you want to meet me in person, I will try and arrange working events when I come over, but it'll be very short notice. I probably won't have much time to organize things. The last time we went over, if you go to the same website, markstewartmedium.com, on the main webpage, you'll find a link there to the Devi and Marc tour of Western New York and the Marc tour of Canada, because again, she chickened out. I tried to get her
I
to come up.
had to leave. I can't stay away from home more than a week.
Bob is a
My
nice
cats
man.
would just die without me.
Never mind the cats. What about your husband?
Oh, he can live without me. It's the cats that can't.
Okay, fair enough. Spiritual cats.
Ah, yes. Cats are very spiritual beings.
Okay, so in case you were thinking that we were joking about what we were talking about, there's a newspaper article about it. So go and do a search. And that's pretty much about it. Oh, yes.
Right.
I only have one final question.
Which is?
How did those ladies, and I know you've kind of answered this, but how did those ladies, that's Stonehenge behind her, by the way, how did those ladies move those ruddy stones without spiritual men?
Well, I don't know how anyone, ladies or men, moved the stones. So I cannot say. Nobody really knows.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Fina knows my cats would have a fit without me. They've been on top of me since I returned home from camping, from the festival.
Big secret. I'm a dog man, not a cat man.
That's his problem, not mine.
Okay, we've got 2 people watching us. Would you like a reading?
Would anyone like a reading?
Would anybody like a reading? If you do, type yes in the comments. You will have to come on live with us, though. You'll have to have a working camera because we won't give a reading without seeing you.
Right. Anyone?
So,
Anyone?
anybody want a reading before we close down?
Guess not.
The world is full of chicken Americans.
Oh, no. They're all gonna let me off because they know I'm hungry and I need to have dinner.
Keep going all night, though. Talking about keeping going all night, Sunday, the 3rd of August, I am going to have an attempt to do 100 readings in one go.
Yes.
So keep watching the website. You'll find links going up. Oh, Maggie says she wants a reading.
Oh, okay.
Yes, please, but at 82.
But 82.
Is that your age? And if it is, you shouldn't feed the medium.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna post a link, Maggie. You need to use that to log on. So give me 2 seconds. All right, so I'm posting it in the comments, and you have to use Chrome as your browser. So if you click on that link, keep your camera and your mic open, and Debbie and I will give you a reading. Meanwhile, we will keep on
We'll
talking.
talk quietly amongst ourselves.
So Debbie, is it cat hunting season?
It's never cat hunting season here. Nope, not at all. My cats are my babies. I have 5 and I'm about to get a 6th. I've got a little kitten waiting for me to adopt her.
Okay.
So yes. I am a crazy cat lady and I will admit it.
The only cat lady I've ever had any emotions about was Catwoman. I was a little bit young at the time.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer, right?
I can't remember the actresses. I think there were 2 actresses. I'm not talking
about
the
first one. What was her name?
I'm talking about the 3-year Batman.
The one in the 60s. The one in the 60s, Eartha Kitt.
But yeah. Although I'm sure there were, or was
there was another one. Julie.
Yeah, there were 2 actresses that played her.
One was Eartha Kitt. The other one was Julie Newmar, maybe.
I can't remember.
I don't recall.
Had your acting career started by that point?
No, I wasn't born yet. So yeah. Or maybe I was just born.
Okay, Maggie. If you're having technical issues, give us a message. Otherwise, we'll be closing down soon.
Yep.
Okay, folks. If Maggie appears while we're doing this, then we will undo our ending. But just a few quick bits and pieces. I don't need that. If you want to register with us, find out everything that we do, go to markstewartmedium.com/newsletter. That'll put you in the database. We do 1/2 emails a month. We do 3/4 text messages. The text messages are very short. It's like, we're doing a circle. Do you want to come? Click here, register, etc.
Mm-hmm.
We have a huge library of talks like this. Me doing readings, me doing talks. Myself and my wife go out and do walks around Scotland, like that wee video if you saw at the beginning. We're going to be doing one, I think it's this weekend, on Tantallon Castle, which is about an hour's drive away from myself. Or Blackness Castle. No, we're not doing Blackness till a future time. It's just me and my wife walking around, taking videos, talking about the ghosts, etc. Sorry. Anyway,
follow us on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. That way you'll
on YouTube
get all of them. Yes.
Facebook brings it down after 30 days. If like this video will be gone in 30 days. So Scottish Medium, YouTube, Scottish, it's a kind of a theme with the accent in case you don't understand. If you would like to get some real hands-on experience about what it's like to give a reading, come to one of our open circle workshops, register here. We do two a month. And don't tell me you can't do it, because I can get anybody except someone that's a non-believer within 2 hours to give a reading.
Yes, absolutely.
Look at the nodding. Marc and his cards, it's another event that we do. The video for that one will be coming up, probably published in the next day or so. That's pretty much about it.
That is it.
I'm afraid,
so
folks,
have a great week.
Have a great week. Oh, and we've got a podcast.
Yeah.
So that'll be being published in the next day or two. So it's been a pleasure. Have a nice week. Good night.
As always. We'll see y'all next week.